October 24th. Today in English, we will be doing our paraphrase lesson. First thing we're going to do is record our scores. Second thing we're going to do is review. And last we'll have lesson 8. Once that's done, we'll do some close reading if we have time. All right, so today what we're talking about is paraphrasing the main ideas. Before we pop into paraphrasing main ideas, I'd like you to record your scores on your progress chart. So go ahead and look at your progress chart and the scores for your last assessment. So it's this one, 7A. 7. It should be number 7 unless you were absent, then it's going to be a different one. Once you have your scores recorded, you can put your papers back in your folder and set them aside until we're ready for them.
It doesn't say the percent.
You don't, it doesn't, you're right. 75. All right, everybody has their scores recorded. Let's continue. All right, so starting with a review, who can tell me what a paraphrase is?
Put it in your own words.
Thank you, putting it in your own words. What is a synonym?
Another meaning for a word.
Another meaning for a word. Try again, you're really close.
Same word, different, or
No.
same meaning.
Same meaning,
Different.
different word.
I
Okay?
didn't say that.
So you said same meaning, same word, different meaning?
Oh.
But I knew what you were thinking, that's why I said you were close. All right, what are the characteristics of a good paraphrase?
Isn't it good spelling? Is it like that? A good
Not good spelling.
And
Correct.
Yep,
In their own words.
yep.
makes sense.
Makes sense.
Yes, the 3 characteristics are that they are correct, they are in your own words, and that they make sense. Good. What is the process for paraphrasing? Hint, it's on the board.
Read the phrase.
Yeah,
Put the sentence and a phrase in your sentence.
okay, what else?
Think of synonyms that can help you use in a paraphrase.
Uh-huh,
And then place the phrase with the synonym in the same sentence and then check your correct own words to make sure it makes sense.
good. Nice, nice. She's absolutely right. We are gonna start where it says sentence, and that is to think of synonyms, place those synonyms in your sentence, and then check your work to make sure it is correct. That is what we are going to be doing today. All right, topic. What's a topic?
Like what's it? Like the name of it?
Your main idea.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. A topic is who or what the author is talking about. What's the main idea?
Explaining the topic.
Explaining the topic, good. What is a detail?
Supporting your Main topic and your main idea.
Supporting your topic and your main idea, absolutely. And that's detail, good. So good review. Last week when we did our lesson, we identified topics, main idea, and details in the text. We went through and determined what the author was talking about, what the author wanted us to know, and then the details that supported that. Today what we're going to do is we are going to continue to identify topic, main idea, and detail, but we're going to add to that the element of paraphrasing. Okay? So today we add the paraphrasing. Last week we used a graphic organizer that looked like this. You see topic, main idea, detail 1, 2, and 3. Today our graphic organizer will look like this. Same on top, and then I added this bottom portion, and that's where we will do the paraphrasing. We had an example that we've read several times about Emily, who's going to be in the play Alice in Wonderland. So it says Emily had done many things to get ready for her big performance in the play, Alice in Wonderland. First, in a used clothing store, she'd found the perfect costume to wear. Her dress looked just like the one in the book everyone had been reading. Second, Emily practiced and memorized all her lines every night. Finally, Emily attended every rehearsal and practiced with all the actors. She knew exactly what would happen at any moment during the play. As you can see, by finding a great costume, memorizing her lines, and rehearsing, Emily had ensured that she would do a great job in the play. All right, so you told me last week, that the topic of that paragraph was Emily's performance. And you told me that the main idea is that Emily is ready for her performance in the play, Alice in Wonderland. You also told me the details is that she found a costume, she memorized her lines, and she went to every practice. So you told me this last week. Now what we're going to do today is we're going to paraphrase that information. Here I have an example. I changed my main idea by saying Emily is prepared for her debut in Alice in Wonderland. Looking at the main idea I have up here and looking at this main idea, is it correct?
Yep.
Thank you. Is it in my own words?
Yep.
Does it make sense?
Yep.
I'm good to go. I would get a point for that. Look at detail 2. Up here I said she found the perfect costume. Here I said she has a great wardrobe. Is that correct?
So what did you do? Switched it or something?
I did. I paraphrased it. I put it in my own words. She has a great wardrobe. Is that the same as she has the perfect costume?
No.
Yeah, it is.
Sure.
How about she has her script memorized?
Yes.
Yeah, instead of she practiced and memorized her lines. Okay? And then number 3, she attended every rehearsal.
Yep.
Yes. I have paraphrased my topic, my main idea, and my 3 details. Questions?
No questions.
No questions. All right, let's give it a try. All right, so right now I'm passing out your learning sheets for today. Remember that in the first learning sheet we learned by watching. The second learning sheet we learned by practicing together. And the third learning sheet we learned by, yes, we learned by practicing on our own. Our first topic that we are reading about today is on page 58, and it's Jackie Robinson. Okay, so if I look at the directions, the first thing it says, use the TM to D process to identify the topic, main idea, and 3 details. We talked about this yesterday, and here's the poster on the wall. Okay, when you're looking for the topic, you're looking for who or what the paragraph is about. This is going to be one word or a short phrase. When you're looking for the main idea, you're looking for what the author wants you to know specifically about that topic. And that's going to be a complete sentence. And in the details, you're looking for information that supports your main idea, also in a complete sentence. All right, so let's take a look at this paragraph about Jackie Robinson. Jackie Robinson was both a great baseball player and a great man. Throughout his 10-year career in baseball, he compiled a .311 lifetime batting average, played in 6 World Series, and stole home 19 times. He was named Rookie of the Year in 1947 and MVP in 1949. All of these results would make any baseball player proud. Nevertheless, Jackie Robinson's greatest achievement was not with his batter glove. Mr. Robinson will always be remembered as the first African American man to play Major League Baseball. Okay, so if I'm doing my TM to D strategy, I'm going to ask myself, who or what is this about? And this is about Jackie Robinson. Write that on your paper. Jackie Robinson. now that I know who or what this is about, I'm going to ask myself, what does the author want me to know about Jackie Robinson? Well, what's that? He is a good person. You're absolutely right. They want me to know that Jackie Robinson was a great baseball player and a great man. I'm going to write that in my main idea. Jackie Robinson was a great baseball player and man. Write that in your main idea. Remember, you want a whole sentence. That means a subject and a verb. That means a capital letter and a period. All right, so what are some details that the author uses to support this in his writing? Well, I can see right up here that he played 6 World Series. I'm going to write that on my paper. He played 6 World Series. Write that down in detail number 1. He played 6 World Series. Do you notice how I'm just taking facts from the paragraph right up here?
Yep.
Thank you. All right, it also says up here that he was Rookie of the Year and MVP. So I'm going to add that to my details. He was named Rookie of the Year and MVP. Write that on your paper for detail too. Okay, the other detail that I can see up there is that he was the first African American man to play Major League Baseball. I'm going to add that. He was the first African American in the MLB. MLB is a shortened,
Major League Baseball.
thank you, shortened for Major League Baseball. Go ahead and write that on your paper for number 3. Okay. I've got my topic. I've got my main idea. I've got my 3 details. I am done with this step, the TM to D. I am done with that. Now it's time to move on to the paraphrasing step. Remember, the paraphrasing step starts here with sentence. Think of synonyms we can use. Replace them in your sentences, and then check your work.
On the next page?
Nope, right at the bottom of this page. So the first thing I have to do is I have to look at this main idea. I've written down that Jackie Robinson was a great baseball player and man. I'm going to put that in my own words, and I'm going to say Jackie Robinson was an awesome athlete and good human. Okay? So I exchanged the words baseball player with athlete, and I exchanged the word man with human being. I also changed the word great with awesome.
You can write that down.
You write that down, please. Yes. Jackie Robinson was an awesome athlete and good human being.
We should watch the movie 47
Okay, we might.
with there being kind of racism.
He put up with a lot of racism, unfortunately. All right, so now I have to ask myself, is this correct? Does it have the same meaning as this? Yes, it does. Is it in my own words? Yeah. And does it make sense? Yeah. I would get all the points for this. Next, after my main idea, I'm going to hop down to my details. He played in 6 World Series. So I said he participated in 6 World Series. I changed played for participated. Now, could I have changed the name of the World Series? No, because there is no other name for it. I might have been able to say he participated in 6 baseball championships, but that doesn't have as much meaning as the World Series. Go ahead and write that on your line for detail number 1. Let's look at detail number 2. Detail number 2 says he was named Rookie of the Year and MVP. So what I said is he was awarded for his abilities on the field. He was awarded. So instead of named, I said awarded. And instead of talking about Rookie of the Year and MVP, I said his abilities on the field. Does my paraphrase have the same meaning as my detail? Yes, it does. Is it correct?
Yes.
Is it in my own words?
Yeah.
Does it make sense?
Yeah.
I would get the points for that. Last one. He was the first African American in the MLB. I said Jackie was the first black person to play on a major league team. Okay? So instead of he, I said Jackie. Instead of African American, I said black person. And instead of the MLB, I said he played on a major league team. Okay? Go ahead and write that on your paper. Any questions about how I paraphrased these sentences? Questions about why I paraphrased these sentences? Do you all have a better understanding of Jackie Robinson after reading this and paraphrasing it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good, then we're doing a good job. We're doing what we need to do. All right, let's flip over to the next page, which is the Learn by Practicing. We're going to do this one together. It's at the page 59, and it says Jackie Robinson continued. Lots of Jackie Robinson today.
I might be reading up to a movie.
That's our topic today. Do I have a volunteer who'd like to read this paragraph? All right, I will read it. Hey, we're just getting started on page 2.
Okay.
All right, it says Jackie Robinson continued. Prior to 1947, Major League Baseball was segregated. This meant that only white players played on the major leagues. Black athletes could play in the Negro Leagues. The Negro Leagues included great teams like Kansas City Monarchs, the Hilldale Giants, and the Homestead Grays. Many amazing athletes like Satchel Paige, James Cool Papa Bell, and Pepper Bassett played in the Negro Leagues. These players were good enough to be major league stars, but they never got to play because they were black. Does it sound weird when I say that word Negro?
A little
Yeah.
odd.
It's a little odd, and that's okay. You have to acknowledge that, right? It's not a derogatory term. This is what the league was actually called,
Negro.
Negro.
I just think it sounds.
It does sound funny, especially coming from me. But this is how at that time they described everything that was related to a black person.
Segregated.
It was segregated. So I wanted to just acknowledge that. All right. So let's talk about the topic. The first thing we need to do is we need to do our TM to D. We need to identify who or what this is about.
It's about African American people.
Is it about African American people or is it about one in particular?
One
It's about the
particular.
Negro League.
It's about the Negro Baseball League. It's about Jackie Robinson.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say.
Okay. So we can say it's about, let's say, black baseball players. Write that on the line.
Black baseball.
If you want to write African American, that's fine too.
I want to write black. I'm sure.
All right. So now I'm going to look up into my story. You have the same story in front of you. I want you to look up in there.
What is the main idea?
What is the main idea? What does the author want you to know about black baseball players?
They're really good.
They were really good. Yep, that's a detail. What else does he want us to know about black baseball players?
It was segregated.
What's that?
It was segregated.
They were segregated, yes. This first sentence, prior to 1947, Major League Baseball was segregated.
So we can just write that.
You can write that
So-
down.
Prior to 1947, we can write that.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's write that on our paper.
How come mine don't have the same jewel?
You're on the different page.
Oh, God.
Was that one?
I think so.
Bro, you think like you're talking about this?
All right. So prior to 1947, Major League Baseball was segregated. Will you write that down, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I was writing it down, but I was gonna look.
You found the right one?
Yeah, now I'm gonna help you.
Good. All right, so let's find a detail in here that supports that the baseball leagues were separated.
When Madeline said earlier, she said that they were really good.
The baseball players were really good.
Yeah.
All of them, or just the black baseball players?
Just the black
Black.
baseball players.
Okay, so the African American baseball players were really good.
I think I'm gonna play baseball.
Yeah, my technology's having a little snafu here.
Leagues.
All right. So I like that. I like that sentence is that these players were good to play in the major league, but they never got to play because they were black. Since that's the last sentence of this paragraph, I'm going to put that in detail number 3. Okay? I'm going to put that in detail number 3.
Oh, what I said?
Yes.
What Natalie said too?
Yes. So these players were good enough to be MLB players,
This window, so I can't see.
but it's on, if you look here on your paper, it's this sentence right here.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. They were good enough to be major league players, but they never
Because they were black.
got a chance. Yes. It's a long one.
That's sad though.
It is very sad.
Oh.
You know, baseball players make a lot of money.
What?
All right. So these players were good enough to be major league players, but they never got a chance because they were black. I wrote it in the third box because it's the very last sentence in the paragraph. So I'm going to put some sentences that are closer to the top in detail 1 and 2.
I was supposed to be charging.
All right. Who can find a detail closer to the top that tells me that Major League Baseball was segregated?
This is meant that only white players played in the major leagues.
Okay, only white players played in
So
the
that can
major
be-
leagues.
That can be detail 1.
Yes.
Also, it says black athletes could only play in Negro leagues.
Yes. So only white players played in the major leagues.
That's messed up. I would have still played anyway.
All right.
You got arrested.
Nope, I would have fought.
And then, Natalie, you said something about black players.
It said black athletes could only play in the Negro leagues.
Okay, let's add that to detail number 2.
Oh, so it says
Black athletes could only play in the Negro League.
In the Negro
And it's capitalized because it's a specific name.
sometimes spaghetti says that, actually.
All right. So, I've got my main idea. Prior to 1947, Major League Baseball was segregated. I've got my detail number 1. Only white players played in the Major League. Detail 2 is black athletes could only play in the Negro Leagues. Detail 3, these players were good enough to play in the MLB, but they never got a chance. Okay? So now I'm done with that first part. I'm done with my TM to D. Now I have to do my steps in paraphrasing.
Yes, ma'am.
So the first thing I do is I try to find synonyms that I can put in to my main idea. Prior to 1947, Major League Baseball was segregated. What are some synonyms I can use in that sentence?
Colored.
Colored, we could. Where would you put colored?
At the end from segregated.
Okay. But colored and segregated don't mean the same thing.
Oh yeah, they don't.
I have some up for what it says.
You can say color, you can prior, you can switch those.
color does not mean the same as prior. Do you know what prior means? Before.
Oh,
So what could I switch with prior?
before.
Okay. So I could say before,
Before the 1947?
yes, before 1947, Major League Baseball was segregated. What can I say for Major League Baseball was segregated?
MLB.
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 The MLB was segregated. What's another word for segregated?
Separated. Yeah, I finally got something.
They were separated by what? By color. All right. So before 1947, the MLB was separated by color. Does that have the same meaning as prior to 1947, Major League Baseball was segregated?
Yeah.
Yes. Detail number 2 says only white players played in the major leagues. What can I do to paraphrase that?
So what?
African American athlete.
Colored athletes.
So I'm talking here, only white players played in the major leagues.
Only Caucasian players played.
Okay? So Caucasian players
Oh, that's funny.
played in the major leagues. What can I say for played?
One. Did. I don't know. I'm trying. I don't know.
I love it.
For what?
For played in the major leagues. I have Caucasian players. What's another word for played in the major leagues?
Defeat.
Participated.
Participated. They participated in what?
In baseball.
In baseball.
I'm expecting.
Hi. Yes. You need Torian. Okay, go ahead and take him. Okay. Okay, go ahead.
I just left. I gotta come.
Thank you. Ahmed, you can go ahead and go down to room 110. All right, let's continue. Let's continue. We are on page 2.
On the last page?
No, page 2. I'll get you caught up.
Oh, you're talking
Oh wait, I gotta ask myself. Caucasian players participated in baseball. Is that the same as only white players played in the major leagues?
Yes.
No.
It's not?
What?
Is-
I'm just saying.
Okay. Okay. All right. So now I have black athletes could only play in the Negro League. So how can we put synonyms in for that?
Color athletes could
Okay.
only participate in the Negro League.
Okay. So another word for black athletes that's a little bit kinder.
African American.
Yes. No, you're good. African Americans. Let me clarify that. When you say people of color, that could be any color. That could be people that are Hispanic or Latino. That could be people who are Asian or indigenous.
People, so that's all.
Yes. Yes. So that's why we say American. African Americans. So African American what? Athletes or baseball players?
Baseball players.
Good.
Baseball. How come this school don't have a baseball team?
They do.
Oh, they do.
So African American baseball players could only play in the Negro League. How can we change that to a different using synonyms?
Competition.
Okay. They can only compete. there a synonym for the word Negro League? No, there isn't. You could say that they could only compete against their African American peers, but I think we want to keep the word Negro League in there. All right, now let's ask ourselves, is this detail the same as this detail?
Yeah.
Is it in my own words?
Yes.
Does it make sense? Good. I would get the points for that.
Are we getting the point?
You will get the points. All right, last one, and then I'm going to let you do it on your own. All right. The detail says that these players were good enough to play Major League Baseball, but they never got a chance because they were black. So how can we say that? What's another way of saying that? Ideas?
Instead of these players, we put the African American because they're talking about.
Okay. African American what? Players, yes. What about the African American players?
They weren't good enough to play.
But they were good enough to play.
Oh.
We can put
They were amazing.
Okay. Amazing what?
Baseball players.
Yes. So I have African American players were amazing baseball players. And there's one thing missing.
but they were not able
Yeah?
to play in the bigger league
Why?
because of their skin color.
You got it. But they were not able to play
Major League.
yeah, in the MLB.
Crashed it.
I know this thing. Because of their skin color. All right. So I have to ask myself, is that correct? Is it in my own words? Does it make sense? Okay, so next, flip it over to the very last page. You are going to do exactly what we just did. You are going to paraphrase the main idea and the details. You're going to start by identifying your topics, your main idea and your detail, and then you're going to paraphrase that. Okay? When you're finished, please put your paper in your basket and put it in the wire basket. Questions about what we're doing? All right, go ahead and begin.
I have a question.
Sure.
She said.
So would the main idea have to be along topic?
Okay, so your topic is only going to be one word.
The what?
And your main, this could be your main idea. first black? Yes. So I would come down here and say Jackie Robinson was the first black major person to play on a major league. But there's also more to that sentence, because it doesn't stop here.
Mm-hmm.
It goes on to say that he suffered a lot of abuse. So if that's gonna, well, what is this paragraph about him being the first black player? Is it about him suffering from abuse? Yes, so then you need to include that. All right, so now you're gonna read this.
It's nice outside.
Yep, now you're gonna read this. You're gonna tell me what it's about. You're gonna tell me what the author wants me to know. And you're gonna tell me 3 details.
So we're gonna do the same thing we did down here.
You got it.
And those people are nice though.
There's too much people in there.
I didn't know it was gonna be that much people. I was like, oh my gosh.
Hey, I get a drink of water.
Yes.
Victoria.
Alright guys, so as you finish up your paper and you put it in your folder and put it in my wire basket, you did a really good job today. You were thinking really hard and trying really hard. I appreciate that. We are going to continue to work on main ideas, details, and topics and paraphrasing into next week. And then when we're ready, we'll move on to the next. Any questions about what we did today? All right. I'll give you a few minutes to finish up.